Anna Maberry, violinist with the Walla Walla Symphony, and today we're going to be learning about the violin. Have you ever wondered how a wooden box and a stick can make such a variety of sounds? Well, today I'll show you how a violin works from the inside out. It all starts with some spruce, maple, and ebony. An instrument maker, or luthier, takes these pieces of wood and carefully carves and bends them based on geometric relationships into certain shapes to form a violin. These parts are held together with hide glue derived from animal hide. It's a very detailed and delicate process that can take anywhere between 250 and 450 hours. Luthiers have been making violins almost in the same way for close to 500 years. That's a long time. Since the birth of the violin in Cremona, Italy in the 1530s, only a little has changed in its construction. Here is a Baroque-style violin made by my husband. You can see that it has a short fingerboard, a wide, flat tailpiece, a wedged fingerboard, and gut strings. Well, not catgut, but yes, all bowed and plucked string instruments used gut strings until relatively recently. Violin fact! Gut strings were in common use until World War II, when gut was needed for sutures in the war effort. Violinists and other bowed string players switched to metal and metal-wound synthetic core strings. But don't worry, Luna, it's usually beef or lamb, and it's a byproduct. They don't kill the animals just for their intestines. Anyway, let's take a look at the violin in its current form. As you can see, the violin as it is most often played today has a longer fingerboard, so you can play higher notes more easily, a narrow, curved tailpiece, overstand rather than a wedge to make it easier to play in higher positions, and metal and synthetic core strings. It's also usually outfitted with a chin rest and shoulder rest, invented in the 1820s and mid-20th century respectively, which can make shifting long distances easier. This is the kind of instrument you'll see in a modern symphony orchestra, like the Walla Walla Symphony Orchestra. Good question, Luna. The stick is called a bow, and I use it to make all sorts of sounds on my violin. Not that kind of bow, silly! There are lots of kinds of bows, but no matter what the bow, the sound is produced in basically the same way. The hair is made sticky with rosin, derived from pine resin, and the sticky hair grabs the string and makes it wiggle, which produces sound. The sound resonates in the hollow body of the violin and escapes through the sound holes into our ears. Voila! Violin fact! Most bows use hair from white-haired male horses. Female horses pee on their tails, weakening the hair. Well, unlike the violin itself, the bow has changed quite a bit in the past 500 years. For a long time, its size and shape wasn't standardized, so it varied from region to region and decade to decade. It only really became standardized in the form that we still use today after the development of the Tort bow by Francois Javier Tort in the 1780s. In other words, I like to use different bows for different pieces that I play depending on when and where they were composed. I'm still saving up for a classical bow and an Italian short bow. What's that? Yes, exactly! You're smart for a cat. Not to say that you can't use a modern violin and bow when you play Bach. You can use whatever equipment that helps you express the music how you feel it. The reason I use historical equipment is because it helps me to understand and connect with the music. And it's kind of like time travel. Right? And it's also sort of like detective work. Well, imagine you're reading an old book you borrowed from the library. You turn a page, and suddenly a slip of paper falls to the floor. You pick it up. It has writing on it. On closer inspection, you see that it's a recipe of some sort. You get excited and start to make the recipe. But wait! Before you can start cooking, you need to do some sleuthing. What is a fistful? Whose fist are we talking about? Was it a little old lady? Or a man with big old mitts? And rice? What kind? Brown? Jasmine? Arborio? Maybe if we knew where the creator of this recipe lived. And what is pepper to taste? Did they like spicy food? Does it matter what they liked as long as we like the final result? Maybe this is getting a little philosophical for a recipe, but you get the idea. We have to ask these kinds of questions when we think about music, especially music that was written a long time ago. Well, you can pluck the strings, which is an effect called pizzicato. Yeah, or you can bow them in all sorts of ways. Think of the bow as a singer's breath. It's where the magic happens, allowing you to produce all kinds of articulations, dynamics, shapes, and timbres or colors. Right? And combining these techniques in effective ways allows us to express the music beautifully. Thanks for joining me and learning about the violin today. I hope you had fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time in part 2.